I can't imagine what it must have been like for the people that were physically present in Jesus' time, and he starts talking about returning to the Father. They were used to being able to see miracles, raising Lazarus from the dead. They could go to him for direction and guidance. He was physically there. And all of a sudden, he's talking about going back to his Father. I'm sure it must have caused them a certain amount of concern, worry, anxiety, and perhaps even doubts. For after all, who will they go to when someone in their family is sick and they want them to be healed, or just for some guidance? For you and I, our experience of the Ascension is totally different, because we weren't there like the disciples and apostles who literally walked the earth as Jesus did. I think for most of us, if not all of us, we have our faith not because we physically experienced Jesus walking with us back some 2,000 years ago, even though Father Ronnie kids me about being old. I'm not even that old. For you and I, faith was passed on to us, as I said, for the most part, by our parents and grandparents and other men and women of faith that we were close to, perhaps a favorite aunt or uncle or whoever. For me, I can remember my parents, who had very strong faith, taking my sister, my brother, myself to Mass religiously, no pun intended, every Sunday, and worshiping together as a family, and experiencing the Eucharist at Mass each Sunday. And then for me, it was off to Catholic schools, grammar school, high school, and Seton Hall University, and then Fordham University as well. So that all enhanced the faith that I had and have, rather than literally being physically present when Jesus walked the earth over 2,000 years ago. And so the question today, I think, for you and I is, how do we see the Ascension that we celebrate this great feast of, Jesus' return to the Father, in our lives today? I firmly believe that the Ascension enables you and I, as men and women of faith, to see the bigger picture, to see how Jesus fits into our lives today. The Ascension helps us to see what the Church has taught us, and particularly that Jesus was not only God, but fully human as you and I. And so when he experienced the Passion and the Crucifixion, he knew what pain and suffering was all about. But he did it for us, not just the people that lived at his time. He wanted you and I to see who he was, what his words meant, and that he wanted to be one with us, not only while we were here on earth, but whatever is to come after our own passing from this life. And I think our understanding of our relationship with the ascended Lord is also made very clear in what we're doing here this morning, the celebration of the Eucharist, and particularly in the words of the offertory. In a few moments at the altar, I will say, the prayer that this bread is fruit of the earth and work of human hands, and that the wine is fruit of the vine and the work of human hands. The bread and wine, which will become the real presence of the Lord on this altar in a few moments, and then that we will receive, becomes Christ for you and I, just as real as the Christ that walked the earth 2,000 years ago. And the beautiful thing is, we are a part of that. It's not simply food, but rather our risen Lord and ascended Lord coming to us in the consecrated bread and wine. If we were to go to the table in the center of church this morning, that's bread and wine. But then someone of the group representing all of us will bring that bread and wine to the altar, and in the words of consecration, it will become the risen Jesus, the ascended Jesus, through his Spirit in each of our lives. And in a very real sense, then when we come up to receive it, we become the body of Christ. We've often heard we become what we consume. And so in consuming the Eucharist, you and I become the body of Christ in our world today. You and I become other Christs in our world today. And he passes on to you and I the challenge to continue that faith, that vision, the healing power that Jesus shared with us back when he walked the earth, and passed on to not only his apostles that were with him at that time, but as time has gone on, to you and I to do the same. We, though human, are holy because of the Eucharist and because of the relationship we have with God. We, though human, and walk this earth today, are called to truly be at home in heaven through our relationship with God, Father, Son, and Spirit. Christ does not abandon us as some of the apostles and disciples feared when he talked about going back to the Father, but rather Christ has cleared a beautiful, clear path for you and I to have life, and to have life in its fullest. And that life leads to the fullest of life in our eternal home in heaven, when we, like Jesus, will ascend back to the Father. So this morning, as we celebrate this feast of the Ascension, let us thank God for the faith we have. Let us thank God for those who witness to the faith in such a way that we believe as well. And let us thank God for his presence in all that we do, and particularly the nourishment that we will receive in a few moments when we become the body of Christ through receiving the body of Christ. God bless you.